welcome back to Yulan's channel. Today we'll be talking about our last subunit of the Unit 3, Perception and Senses, and today we'll be talking about body sense. So just a quick introduction about myself. I'm Yulan. I'm a high school student from Canada. I self-studied AP Psychology last year and scored a 5 on it, so that's why I really want to share my experiences and some useful tips in learning psychology and how you can score a 5. So yeah, let's begin today's lecture on body senses. So, as you all know, body senses provide you with information about the position of your body in respect to environment. The four main ones are touch, pain, vestibular, and kinesthesis. So the first one is somatosensation, which is touch. The sense of touch that you experience is a mix of pressure, warmth, cold, and pain. Variations of these four include tickling, itching, and wetness. For example, wetness results from the stimulation of both cold and pressure receptors. The information from the sensory receptors is then carried to your spinal cord, which is transferred to your medulla, thalamus, and finally the somatosensory cortex in your parietal lobe. Touch is very subjective. For example, some people love messages, other people don't like people touching them, especially strangers. People that like massages, but prefer a firm, deep issue massage or a gentler, light, Swedish-style massage. Now we have pain. Just as smell and taste are essential for your survival, pain is your body's way of telling you to stop an action that may be harmful to you, or to get yourself to a doctor because there's something wrong inside your body. Some people are born without a sense of pain, and unfortunately, they often die early because their brain doesn't get the message that something is wrong. Imagine if your appendix bursts and you even don't feel it. Scientists Melzack and Wall came up with the gate control theory in an attempt to explain why we experience pain. Their theory is that the spinal cord, where pain signals are sent, have a neurological gate that can block or allow a pain signal to go to the brain. The gate is opened by small nerve fibers that carry pain signals and closed by larger nerve fibers or information coming from the brain. Have you ever noticed that if you stub your toe and then rub your foot and the pain from your toe subsides? The gate control theory explains that phenomenon. This idea is that the rubbing action is a sensation that travels along larger nerve fibers and therefore acts to close the gate to the pain signals coming through via the small nerve fibers. Massage and acupuncture, two methods used to help people dealing with chronic pain, work in the same way. Endorphins, which are feel-good hormones, also play a role in our perception of pain, and it seems that there are genetic differences in their production. This makes explain why some people are more sensitive to pain than others, and why women are more sensitive to pain than men. Women are also more sensitive to hearing and smell. It also explains why some athletes don't notice that they have sprained their ankle during a game. How is that possible? Wouldn't they automatically detect the pain? No. Because when you play a sport, endorphins are naturally released. This sensation of endorphins blocks the pain during the game, but soon after the pain is felt. In addition to these biological influences on pain, there are also psychological and socio-cultural influences. Our perception of pain can be increased or decreased depending on your attention to it, our expectations, and even the presence of other people. Have you ever noticed that a young child may cry louder when they get annoyed and their parents rush to their aid than if the parent downplays it? Often, children will even look to a parent before reacting. Interestingly, the brain can also play psychological tricks on you and create pain. Some people who have had limbs amputated still experience pain and even the feeling of movement in their missing limb. This is known as phantom limb sensation and is thought to be the result of the brain misinterpreting central nervous system activity. So now we will talk about vestibular sense. So vestibular sense is our sense of movement, including balance. Our semicircular canals and vestibular sacs in the inner ear are responsible for keeping balance. Here cells are stimulated by movement, and your vestibular sacs respond to the movement with similar receptors, balancing it out and creating an equilibrium. When you are motion sick, the signals from your vestibular system and your eyes clash with one another. Tightrope walkers must have an incredible vestibular sense. So what's the difference between kinesthesis and vestibular sense? So kinesthesia is a system that enables us to sense our position and how and when our body parts move. Our vision working with kinesthesia allows us to know where we are standing with respect to our environment. Dancers, figure skaters, and many other athletes have a superb kinesthetic sense. Our kinesthetic sense comes from muscles and joints. Our muscles and joints send information to our brain as to where our limbs are. This information is then combined with visual senses, creating a way to track where our body parts are. You can touch your kneecap with high accuracy because you know where your finger and kneecap are in relation to each other. So here are some other major terms. So I have proprioception is awareness of where the parts of your body are in relation to the space around you. Sensory interaction is where our tastes interact with one another and influence each other. For example, smell plus texture plus taste equals flavor. Also, when you have a cold and experience pain, your sense of taste may be affected and food could taste bland. Embodied cognition is the influence of bodily sensations on your psychological states, which is cognitive. For example, physical warmth often promotes social warmth, and you grow a connection with the person you may be hugging. Synesthesia is a condition where one sensation produces another. For example, when somebody says they can taste the color, they have synesthesia. All in all, our senses work together to help us survive in any environment. So now we have so that's the end of our video today. Thank you for listening. Hope you find this interesting.